afternoon, everybody. I'm Joe Martens, ORDA's chair, and I'm calling today's meeting to order on February 20th at 1:09 p.m. I'm sorry for the delay. Thanks all for attending, and we're welcoming the board members here in person and remotely via video conference. Please note the meeting is being videotaped. A link to the video will be posted on the Olympic Authority website following this meeting. And as we start today's items, I'll remind everyone to please speak up and speak clearly and identify yourselves
Each time you speak or make a motion.
An agenda is included in your board packet. Renee, could you call the roll, please?
Joe Martens,
Here.
Bill Beanie,
Here.
Jen Holdering. Here. Steve Hunt,
Here.
Betty Little.
She's waving.
Art Lucy.
She's muted herself. Yeah, I'm here, but Betty, you're still muted.
No, there I am.
There you go.
We got you.
Thank you, Betty.
That was down at the bottom.
Thank you.
Diane Monroe,
I'm here.
Chris Pushkarsh,
Here.
Joe Zaluski,
Here.
Eleanor Tatum,
Here.
Billy Jones,
Here.
Gigi Luizzo. Okay, we have quorum, and for the record, I just want to point out that Steve is attending under extraordinary circumstances for the record.
Thank you, Renee. Thanks all for being here. So the first item for board action on the agenda is the approval of meeting minutes. May I have a motion for approval of the minutes of our last meeting held on December 12th, 2025?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Betty. Seconded by
Second,
Art Lucy. Any discussion? All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I'll abstain.
Okay, Diane abstains, she was not present. And the motion carries unanimously with one abstention. Next item on the agenda is the president's report, so I'm going to turn it over to Ashley.
Bear with me. A rough one. Share. Two. Okay.
Thank you, Mike.
Stay.
Well, welcome, everyone. Let's see, we'll kick off here. It's been, as everyone probably knows, an exceptionally busy winter. Both of our daily operations and our event schedule has been really packed. Really want to thank our board, all of our state partners, and particularly our staff, who have really helped this season be so successful so far. Right after our last board meeting in December, we hosted the Luge World Cup at Mount Van Hovenberg. This was the first major event that we hosted on the newly modernized track. We had quite a bit of construction that happened throughout the spring, summer, and fall. So it was excellent to be able to display that during this December World Cup. It was also the first of 4 Olympic qualifying events. So this was a critical event for the luge athletes and the first of 4 Olympic qualifying events that the Olympic Authority hosted this winter season. Right on the tails of the Luge World Cup, we hosted the International Bobsledded Skeleton North American Cup and the U.S. Ski and Snowboard Cross Country Nationals. These were really big events from a numbers standpoint and also an impact. So for the cross country nationals event, we had over 450 Nordic athletes They were representing either club or college teams, and they were all competing for their selection races for national titles and also international stage. This was also an Olympic qualifying event for many of these athletes.
Can I cut in on you
Yeah,
there?
please.
On that cross-country event, 2 men and 2 women actually made the Olympic team out of that event. And one of them didn't medal, but did really well.
There were 3 separate disciplines within that event. Excuse me, we had the 10-kilometer individual start, the 20-kilometer mass start, and a Super Tour individual sprint event. At the very same time, simultaneously, we hosted the NAC event, which had over 100 athletes competing in both bobsled and skeleton, and was also an Olympic qualifying event. So it really was just a super exciting time at Mount Van Hovenberg. If you went out during this time span, both sides of the venue were being utilized. The multi-use facet of the Mountain Pass Lodge was in full display. They had the events operation out of there. They had broadcast volunteers, in addition to our recreational opportunities. So just really a true testament to how special and unique Mount Van Hovenberg is to be able to have that many athletes competing while also supporting recreational activities. The following week, we hosted the Aerials World Cup. This was actually a double World Cup. The second of the events was relocated from a western site that, unfortunately, due to a lack of snow, was not able to host. So Sunday and Monday, we hosted a double World Cup and the last of our 4 Olympic qualifying events. The athletes that competed here from the U.S. team, they then stayed until their departure for the Olympic Winter Games on February 4th. So really, always a great event out at the Olympic Trophy Complex, but extra special that they stayed and trained right through until they headed to the Olympic Games. We kicked off February's event schedule with NORAM downhill and aerials. So the NORAM downhill race, which was really exciting. If you had the opportunity to see it, it was a great course. Lots of positive feedback from coaches and the racers. Part of the reason we'll cover it in a moment further that we were able to host the event is because of the new Little White Face lift and the placement of those towers. At the same time, the aerials, NORAM aerials division was being held over at the Olympic Jumping Complex. So just another display of how our events team and our staff is able to handle multiple events, different locations, in such a successful manner. So the winter season, it started strong. Everybody will probably remember it started snowing in November and hasn't stopped, which we are grateful for. We are grateful for Mother Nature's help whenever we can get it. It also is, for us to be able to see that we started so early in November. So we opened Whiteface, for example, top to bottom skiing on November 15th, summit skiing on November 15th. We also, Bel Air, opened early and before the Christmas holiday was 100% open. It just shows the investments that we're making in the snowmaking infrastructure that is paying off. We did get a little bit of help from Mother Nature, but we're able to make up where we lack and stay with a really great base that we're still continuing to see. So our revenue to date is up by 10% year over year. The areas of growth that are trending are very consistent with what we've seen in the past. Bel Air continues to be showcasing our largest growth. Also, our skating activities have seen tremendous growth, and our retail. So our retail locations, for those of you, I would put in a plug, if you haven't been to them recently, you should go, and you should go to them often, because the items that are there change. And they change fairly regularly, not just with the seasons, but we also have specific event-related items, and we also feature a number of local and New York products. So it's not just outerwear and skiing gear. There are, we display some of the local artists, actually even some of the Olympic athletes. They make their own pottery, they make some of their own pins that we have a partnership with them, and we sell their products in the shop. We do have New York-based maple syrup and other items. So the retail outlets have really done a tremendous job of not just having a great inventory, but also being able to go above and beyond skiing-related items. We also added a new retail location this year at the North Creek Ski Bowl. So the North Creek Ski Bowl Lodge opened in early January, and it has a new retail location known as the Trailside Outfitters. The new restaurant opened called Timber and Time, and the Hudson Chair, which opened last year, was open for the Christmas holiday and has continued to welcome guests and bring everybody to the new area. So this has been really an awesome addition to Gore. The restaurant has been a big hit. People are just loving the additional spot location, and we're excited about how that's going to continue to grow as we bring the summer activities online. Here's just a few more shots of the Timber and Time restaurant, some of the skiing that we're having, and the Trailside Outfitters. So we mentioned before, part of the reason that we were able to host the NORAM event was the new and improved little white face lift. When this lift was replaced, the tower placements were spaced differently, which allowed us to utilize some of the approach trail to actually start the race up higher, so that we could get a homologated NORAM downhill event. So just one of the many impacts that the little white face lift has had is being able to host that event. In addition to that, it's a very reliable, it's a super reliable lift. So some of the times where we have issues with wind or other weather, this lift is very reliable and resilient, and we're able to run it despite some of the conditions, and it opens up that amount of trail for our skiers. This season, we also opened the new Top Ridge lift. This is a pretty important lift for Gore Mountain. Apologize that it keeps doing this. You get to see a little preview each time. So the Top Ridge lift, as I mentioned before, is a really important lift to Gore. It helps to efficiently connect skiers to all of the summits across Gore. So it connects them with the summit and Bear Mountain, which both access the top of the gondola. Most of the skiers that are at Gore for their day of skiing or riding end up taking this lift at some point as they traverse or access Gore, since it's such a large mountain. So it's really a key connector to the rest of the mountain. So this winter we also had a lot of attention and celebration around the Miracle on Ice and the 1980 hockey team. We had 3 main events. First kicking off with the Congressional Medal of Honor that was awarded to the 1980 hockey team. Then we hosted the Run Back to the Miracle event, and wrapped it up with the unveiling of the Herb Brooks statue that you see there in the top right. So quite a bit of attention, part of the energy being based around the Olympics, and obviously we love telling the story, retelling the story, and introducing everyone to the rink. So the Olympic Museum opened a new exhibit, Snow on Demand. This was a board resolution item, and they were able to finish up the new exhibit in time for the start of the Olympic Games. So this gives our guests an additional, they've been to the museum before, which is excellent and showcases a number of Olympic artifacts. But now it has a new exhibit, so if you've been before, I would encourage you to go again. This one is based upon climate change and its impact on winter sport and also winter recreation.
I have to say that I had a hard time leaving the build your own snowflake. It was fun.
And the museum now has more interactive exhibits than it has.
And that makes a huge difference. There was a family there when we were there, and they walked right by it. And I said to the mom, you know, your daughters can go build a snowflake. And they ran right over there, and they were playing for like 10 minutes.
You got out of the way.
Oh, yeah, yeah. You know, little kids always win.
So a really neat exhibit, and congratulations to the museum team for getting this complete in such a short amount of time. Throughout this winter, we've had a ton of additional media and communications and PR items. We have approximately over 2,000 mentions and over 6.2 million views across all of the platforms that we've seen. There was initially a lot of talk about the mountain openings, which is a big highlight for us. And very quickly it transitioned over to the legacy venues and a lot of chatter about the Olympics. We hosted a number of media outlets that shot features, a lot of them in advance, or then have been here throughout the games. That have now been airing throughout the Olympics. So I hope everybody has been watching the Olympics and enjoying it and seeing how much coverage our venues have been getting. I think it's just really a testament to not only the events that we host, but the recreational activities that we have for our guests to experience winter sports, some of those that are very unique and not available many places in the world. And I just wanted to also note that we have, so throughout the events that we do, we actually create a press room. So our communications team, led by Darcy, they put together a coordinated press room at each of the events. And so that's really a big effort between our sports partners, between a lot of the media outlets that we invite to the events, and our communications and PR team. We also, just to mention some of the news outlets that we have hosted, so we had NBC, Good Morning America, and Saturday Night Live. So we have, hopefully everybody has been cheering on Team USA. This is a little snapshot of the Team USA athletes that have connections here in New York State. Two different categories here. We have those that are either born in New York or have relocated to New York. We do have a lot of athletes that have relocated because of the venues and the training opportunities they have here. So really wanted to note that. And then we have a number of them that, while they may not have their permanent resident here or be born in New York, they have strong ties to New York because of the training opportunities that they're able to be offered here in the Lake Placid region. So 43 athletes in total with a connection from New York State that are over in Milan, Cortina competing. Okay. One of the athletes that we wanted to feature is Kelsey O'Driscoll. We had congratulated her at the beginning of the season in the last December board meeting for making the U.S. Paralympic team. She was officially named to the USA Paralympic team for Milano Cortina last week. And Kelsey, she was injured during a sledding accident. She was a skier with ties to Gore. After her accident, she came back to Gore to learn adaptive skiing. She then tried racing gates at a camp in Vermont, and really the rest is history. She now lives in Glens Falls, will be over competing. They compete from March 9th to the 16th, so I would encourage everyone to follow her journey. She is still a ski patroller at Gore, and everybody will be cheering her on. So we've highlighted a few of the events that are on the major events schedule. You'll see that we had a little bit of a break in February while most of the sports were tied up in Italy. We will start in March with a very heavy event schedule again. So we have end of February, women's ECAC, which will be the first time we've hosted it here. We will continue on with men's ECAC, and then we have IBU Cups, which is International Biathlon Union, and it's the second highest event that they have outside of a World Cup. And then we will close out the majority of our events with the cross-country World Cup finals. It's the first time we've hosted that since 1979. So So still a number of events and exciting events ahead of us here in March.
So before you go to the video,
Yeah.
I know you just got back from Italy, and Lake Placid hosted a reception over in Italy that Ashley attended. Basically a friendship event with our hosts in Milan. And I wonder if you could just say a little bit about that, because I think that we, meaning Lake Placid, ORDA community, attracted a lot of important guests, and I think really put a nice spotlight on our venues here. So if you can just describe the event.
So there's always been a strong relationship between Lake Placid and Cortina, where each sites, now that Cortina has hosted their second Olympic Games, there's also been strong connections within the bobsled community between the two cities. So there was a friendship reception that was hosted. We welcomed the mayor of Cortina, Assembly Member Bobby Carroll presenting with a proclamation, and really there was a number of international sport partners, so leadership from all of the winter sport federations. We had members from the IFC in attendance, and we had also a number of athletes. So some of the athletes that were listed on the 43 New York athletes were there. They had just competed. They talked about their journey from Lake Placid, their connections with Lake Placid, and how that had helped them get to Cortina. So really was just a great celebration of being able to highlight some of the partnerships between the two cities.
Terrific. The other thing, for those that it may have slipped by, I hope not, Ashley mentioned the Miracle on Ice and all the attention that's been getting recently here and around the world. And the Netflix documentary, Miracle, the Boys of 1980, is previewed about a month ago. And if you haven't seen it yet, you should watch it and bring your tissues with you. It is just like every other movie I've seen about Miracle on Ice brought tears to my eyes, and I know it does to most people. So you should check that out, but it also highlights both the events, the documentary, all highlighted sort of the importance of the community here and the support in the community. And during the event of the unveiling of the sculpture, Herb Brooks' son made the point that he said he's thought about the Olympics virtually every day since he was there as a 13-year-old, however old he was. And that if you transported the athletes, same teams, all to a different point in time, 4 years earlier or 4 years later, he didn't think they would have, that the outcome would have been the same, because the community here was that important and integral to the whole experience for the team, the coaches, and everybody else, which I thought was an amazing observation and another credit to what this community brought to the 1980 Olympics. And I will also just give my kudos to the Snow on Demand exhibit in the museum. I thought it was terrific, in a time when climate change is maybe not front and center where it was a year ago, even a year ago. This puts it back in the spotlight, in the place where it deserves to be in the spotlight, because the future of winters is on the line, and the exhibit displays that and just how important it is to be sustainable.
Can I ask a question about that? So the teacher head in me was going through there saying to myself, this is like a whole unit, right? I'm assuming that there are connections built between the museum and the local schools, and that could be, I'd want to bring science teachers in to look at that and see the connections, and maybe use that as a way to help the kids better understand and experience it.
Yeah, and the museum does a number of educational programs that are not just limited to local schools. So they have a kit of items that they actually will send to schools that are in other areas, and they have a whole, presentation and kind of curriculum put together. Then they actually send some of the items. One of them is an Olympic torch. They have a kit that they send over that goes along with it, and they do quite a bit of that, of educational pieces. I'm sure that they'll build in, if they haven't already, the new snow on demand part.
And is there a specific person at the museum who, sorry, I'm gonna, at the museum who handles that? And can you send me the contact information? I'll pass it on. I know that we have some supers down in the cats that would love to see something like that. Thank you.
And the snow on demand, you can let up just a little bit this year. I love the snow season,
Not yet,
but
come on.
Stop it.
That's
It's
fine.
not even
That's
March.
fine.
every drive I've had of
Stop it.
20 below and it was snowing, I'm like, come on, how does this happen?
And I can't even ski this year, and I'm still running.
No, I do, it's great season.
Okay, back to you, Ed.
All right, back to the video.
Okay.
Easy fast.
Geez, here we go again.
Fire it out.
We have to, my grandson has told us we have to mark our calendar because he's gonna be in, not the next Olympics, we're gonna be 16, but he's aiming for the Olympics.
All right.
He's fallen in love with cross-country skiing.
So there's no old business on the agenda, so we're going to move on to the new business. Before I do, I'd also like to welcome Emily Russell from North Country Public Radio. It's nice to have the media here with us.
Sorry, I was late.
It's the snow.
I went to 2 wrong venues.
May I have a motion to adopt Resolution 578, resolution committing capital and authorizing the President and CEO to enter into a facility strategic plan agreement?
So moved.
Moved by Ellie,
Second.
seconded by Diane. And before I ask if there are any questions, for the sake of consistency with the other resolutions, I'd like to suggest an amendment to the language in the second to last paragraph of this resolution. Accordingly, I need a motion to amend the resolution to make that change. So could I have a motion to amend Resolution 578 to change the language of the second to last paragraph of the resolution to read as follows? Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Directors hereby authorizes the President and CEO to invest the necessary capital for expenses related to the project as is described more fully herein. You'll see that that's the language that is in the rest of the resolutions.
Make that motion.
Motion moved by Joe Zalusky,
Second.
seconded by Ellie. Does anyone have any questions, or would anyone like to further discuss regarding the amendment of Resolution 578?
This is in regard to FEA, correct?
Yes, it's just that, we're just voting now on the amendment to the resolution, not the resolution itself.
Oh, okay.
So, all in favor of the amendment of Resolution 578?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstained? Motion to amend, amend Resolution 578 carries unanimously. And does anyone have any questions, or would anyone like to further discuss regarding 578 as amended? And before we get to that, I would just note that this was the item that was tabled at the last board meeting after a lot of good discussion and questions. In the follow-up to that, we've had board members asking additional questions, which Ashton has responded to in writing. We've had several board members meet with FEA staff directly to ask questions and probe a little deeper into what that process is going to look like. We've had several board members talk to staff members about their involvement and engagement up to date with FEA and their impressions of the need for what I would call a very comprehensive look under the hood of everything the Olympic Authority does. All of our infrastructure, what we build, how we build it, how we maintain it, importantly, how we keep track of all of the assets we have, which are, I know we say the insured value is north of 600 million, but the value of everything I'm sure is well beyond that. So we have, and as I noted, I think at the last board meeting, the variety of the infrastructure is vast and complex. I don't think any other state agency, maybe with the exception of state parks, has the variety of infrastructure we have housed under one agency. So I'm going to leave it at that and then ask if others would like to have any additional questions or like to discuss this further.
I have a question, Justice. Has FEA already engaged with ORDA on some projects?
Yes, so we had an initial scope of work that was conducted last spring to do an assessment, and that work is complete.
I was unexpectedly absent from the last meeting, and as Ashley knows, because I always send notes when I get the resolutions, I always send notes and harass her, and she's always very responsive. I guess I was very, very concerned about the scope of work and the cost and things like how does it relate to program, and knowing that culture trumps strategy every time. So strategy is only as good as the culture shape. I need to thank you for creating the opportunity to talk to the folks at FEA. That really helped me understand how they build this effort to truly connect to the people in the front lines. Because without listening to them, we're not going to get the kind of information we need. And in following up and talking to some of them, what you learn is that just the fact that they were consulted has already begun the culture shift process. And I was very impressed with them, and I have a lot of thoughts. I delved into it pretty deeply, but I want to thank you, and I feel much more comfortable about this than I did.
Thank you, Diane. Other questions or comments?
Yeah, going back to the last meeting, and we were talking about this, and obviously we had a healthy discussion, and I think that's what a board should do. We shouldn't agree with everything right off the top, right off, and we're not a rubber stamp for anyone, and that's a good thing, I think, to have this board in those discussions. I did have some apprehension at the last meeting and talking about it, and I think I was even quoted in one of the local, probably saying that my biggest issue with consultants, and there's some very good ones, and there's, whatever, just like any profession, is that I have been involved in local government, state government, all the way up through in organizations, and just, I have seen so many times where we get, the consultant comes in, usually at a pretty nice price, and they form a plan, and it gets put on a shelf. And there are many organizations and local governments, and even state governments and federal governments that have many shelves full of plans. And my biggest question was, in how do we implement that? Because on that sense, in being in that, I've been in circumstances where I could never implement that plan. Even if it was the best plan in the world, I can't implement that plan. And that, or quite frankly, sometimes you just don't implement the plan. So when we're talking about planning and strategic initiatives, I think we should be doing that. I believe we're probably 15, 20 years behind in doing that. And now more than ever when we have these facilities. So I guess just so you can explain it, and I want to thank Ashley and the staff and Joe for taking my multiple questions on this. How is this being implemented? How can we reassure people that we're just not putting this, because we do have, and another question is, we have $600 million worth of assets. I think that is far below of what it is. We keep hearing this $600 million figure, and I don't think the general public knows the scope or the realm of what actually ORDA has in its portfolio. It's amazing if you want to read it, what they do. But is this, in our job as a board is to say, is this going to help us with operations? Because that is our function here as a board, is to make sure that the hardworking staff here and that the people here can be able to run the operations here. And I think that's part of the mission and a large part of that mission. How is this going to be implemented? Is the staff going to be involved? Because we had talked about the last meeting, and I know I'm rambling on, but if you'll allow me. Is it just going to be, well, we're going to do this, and we're going to have to hire this, an assessment team, or we're going to have to, build one in-house, which is virtually impossible because we all know the workforce shortages here. Are we going to, let's take, for instance, procurement. Are we going to streamline the process? How is FEA going to hold our hand during this? And I know a couple of board members last time were saying, FEA, they're going to be here to 2027, whatever. I, in fact, want them to be here longer in the process because I want to make sure that this plan is implemented for the good of the staff, for the good of the hardworking people here at ORDA. And I think, and you answered my questions before this, Ashley, I want to know, and I want it to be known how this is going to be implemented, how this is going to help operations. Is there a return on the ROI? Or is there an ROI on this? And if it streamlines and helps our staff out with the operations of the facility, then yes. But can you just explain how, and we had talked about it earlier, I think that's an important point to get out.
So I'll go with the first question, there's a few here, so if I
Yeah,
miss
no,
some,
I
then
gave you
go
like
back.
5
That's okay.
questions, but.
So let's go first on the implementation, how it's gonna be implemented. So part of this process and why it's so important that, as part of this process, that the boots on the ground, the staff that are running the infrastructure, that are running the daily operations are a part of this. There's an operational assessment that is a part of this project. It's one of the 4 pieces of it. That operational assessment helps, us better understand and FEA understand what we currently have from a staffing standpoint. So it's not here's the plan, good luck going to do it. It's, here's the plan that, is the kind of the lead point where we're trying to get to. Here's where we currently are from a staffing and operational standpoint. Here's how we can start moving towards that, North Star, if you will. The plan is built with the people on the ground, with their information, their knowledge, and taking that, putting it together into what we will end up with after is a full asset management inventory, all of the information necessary. It will then get phased in a manageable amount of time and staff and resources. To your point, it is not helpful for anybody if we're given a plan that we do not have the resources to implement. So it's built upon what we currently have and helps us to guide the organization into a direction so that we can slowly build to what would be necessary. A big part will be ensuring that we do have the proper staff, training the staff that we currently have. We talked a little bit last time about technology and how it's evolving so quickly and how that is impacting our staff's ability to handle, the new equipment or infrastructure. We need to be able to train the staff on what those things are, and it's changing so rapidly that sometimes we can't. So all of those are a piece of it. Our mission calls for continuous improvement. This is how we continually improve from an operational standpoint also. This will help us be more efficient. So one of the things that we currently struggle with is we're running day-to-day operations. There will always be the things that pop up that happens that are unanticipated. If those become too overwhelming, then the day-to-day operations could be negatively impacted. We don't want that to happen. We want to operate as efficiently as possible. So putting together this plan helps us to operate more efficiently and also to prioritize the lists of tasks and maintenance that we have. We want to make sure that we are clearly, prioritizing those tasks so that our staff can implement them. If that's where the return on the investment comes. If we can protect the things that we have rather than wait for them to break, that is one of the ways that we get to the ROI on it. Once we do get to the point where something does break, even if it's just a pipe bursting, that normally has operational impacts, and it has, the emergency fix impact, and the damage, right? So there's multiple ways here that we truly believe this will return an ROI. I think I got most of the questions,
Yeah,
but.
yeah. I'm just, when we're looking at is, the FDA's immediate recommendations, deal with procurement and streamlining of other, what some people would consider basic. I've been through procurement processes, they're not easy. So will we have the technology in place to help with that, or will FEA help us with that, with the actual operations of the facility, helping the staff? That's what I think we want to do, right?
And the other thing that, and I think for those that joined or had the opportunity to talk to FEA, when they enter into projects with organizations, it is not just here's the project and they walk away. They are still engaged with the majority of the people that they start a project with. Because there is an implementation, they want to make sure that it is built to be successful. And there are resources that they can bring. They can look at procurement. Obviously, we have very specific guidelines around procurement, but maybe there's a way that operationally we can be, you know, making that process easier for our staff, and potentially, you know, saving on some of the expenses there. So those things will be looked at. Those will be part of the operational assessment, but that's a piece of this.
Can I follow up on Lily's comment about the value at 600 million? I'm gonna ask a different question. What is the replacement value of our facilities? I ask that question because I know the value of my house, and I know that there's no way we could replace it at that money. So do we have a sense, it must be in our insurance, right?
Yeah, so we often reference the insured value because that is a hard number that we currently have, that's north of 600 million. We don't insure all of them based on value, but we do know that, and when this project is complete, because of the condition assessments that will be done and that will be very thorough, we will be able to have a much more accurate answer, but over $1 billion in replacement value assets.
That, so,
Probably closer to
I'm
1.
glad I thought about it that way because I'm cheap. I'm fiscally conservative. I always have been. But for me, 3 million as a percentage of that feels less expensive, I guess.
Yeah,
I
mean,
see it easily as an investment as opposed to an expenditure, which is a standard that I carry in my head. So, thank you. I'm glad you said that.
And just to go off what Diane's saying too, I mean, if something catastrophic were to happen at any of the venues, you know, you book these events to, you know, sometimes as far as 2-3 years in advance, sometimes as little as 6 months, depending on who you're working with, but having a plan also, that means then you can plan your replacement or your fix during a time when you don't have to give up an event.
Yeah.
Or God forbid it happens during the event, and then to Diane's point, it doesn't matter how much it costs, not only that, your reputation is sunk and your, so I do agree that this is much more of an investment. I'm more concerned and impressed with the physical plan. I think because we have so many already state guidelines in terms of procurement and stuff like that, that may be good to look into, but probably not a whole lot they can do. But from a fiscal plan standpoint, I think that this is a great idea.
And having a plan, from my mind, that is fully engaged people that make it work is chaos reduction. And I think that's important with the scope of what gets done by this organization, which is massive.
And just to build on what everyone's saying, I also see it as a way of future-proofing the organization with having this plan.
Other comments?
I do, if I could.
Betty,
Betty.
please.
Okay, I have thought a lot about this for quite a while, and since 4 o'clock this morning, for one thing. And I just find that my understanding is the Olympic Center in Colorado is using this company. But they have a lot more money than we have and more expense. And the expense of just getting the agreement is one thing, but the agreement is worth nothing unless you hire them to implement it and see that it's implemented. So it's a huge expense, and I'm just not able to support this. I'm sorry.
Thanks, Betty. I understand the point. I think,
You know, the other thing is, they're the only company that we looked at, I think. You're doing something like this, and but I think if they did the Olympic Center, that's probably enough value to look at them. So, okay, thank you.
thanks, Betty. I'll respond to Betty, but others can go ahead.
No. That's what we're here for.
Just on the workforce training aspect of it, you know, just the maintenance upkeep of our facilities here. Are we, and I know it's tough because but is there some kind of plan, because I see it every day in the business that I'm in, of where, people are retiring, there's not a backfill of people that are trained, have the knowledge. We talked a lot about institutional knowledge in here. And I guess, is there a plan, or can this be a part of the plan to make, you can't make people, well, you can, I guess. But is there part of a plan to train our staff in the maintenance areas of it, in the not necessarily the construction area, but the operations part of it, so that I talk every day in the business I'm in about a pipeline. We need to fill that pipeline with a talent pool and upscale the skills of workers. And we have a lot of operations in that area. Is that part of the plan here, for some kind of training for our staff that, quite frankly, as was mentioned last week, is tired, and but they keep putting, moving through. But I feel that we need to have that pipeline of trained personnel. Institutional knowledge comes along with that, to make sure that this is, that we are forward thinking, and we see that in everybody's business, in everybody's companies, we see it now.
And to be ready for the changing skill sets that come
Yeah.
with the new technology and the new equipment.
Is that kind of part of this plan as well?
Okay, so from the organizational side, it will take a look at how it's currently structured within maintenance and facilities, and infrastructure too. So we do have some very, particular, unique, refrigeration systems, lift mechanics. We have some very unique and specialized areas, but ensuring that, that tribal knowledge is one of the things that was mentioned, but ensuring that we're cross-training staff, and we're also helping to train people, so if they come in on entry level, they have the opportunity for growth and to learn, so that they can roll into those positions. And should somebody, get hired away or retire, that not everything's going to come to a halt, that we can continue on, and we have a path for growth for somebody that's entering the organization. And we're also, I think Ellie said, future-proofing ourselves for, what's to come. One of the things that is difficult is the change in technology. We're upgrading a refrigeration system from 1978 to a modern, 2026. There's a big difference in how those are operated. So we have to be able to train the staff to run the new system and to run it differently. Now, we're going to run it more efficiently, which is a good thing, but we need to train the staff to do so.
And it can't be a one-shot, here's how you do it. It has to be very well planned and supported. We talked about that with them, and the pipeline is huge.
Art, I know you're just dying to say something, so.
I'm surprised it's been quiet this long.
Well, I was pretty vocal at the last meeting, and so I think that for me to get support of this motion, I did take the time to talk to not just the venue managers or leaders, but some of the underlings, because I got a lot of feedback that from people in the community that, I can't believe you're going out there and hiring these consultants, and they're going to tell our people how to do it, when we've had people in the trenches running these venues for the past 4 years.
And you can take the companies that we invested millions of dollars in new ski lifts and refrigeration systems, and why didn't those come with manuals that our staff could follow, so we don't have to hire these consultants? And what I've learned from talking to staff and managers is that they are they have directional, I'll say, booklets or manuals on how to run lifts, but they don't, they need interpretation. And so I hate the word consultant, and so I've gotten it out of my mind and I'm not using it anymore. And I'm gonna call this company technical advisors, because they're there to help our team move our venues in a way that we don't have to do a major overhaul after 5 years. We're doing constant annual, I wouldn't say annual, like when you talk about compressors at the Olympic Center, you know, we usually have 2 pretty good lulls in the spring and the fall when we can, you know, I don't know, service them. And again, but and people have said to me, well, why don't you just go out and hire engineers? And, you know, you could hire an engineer for every facility, but that sounds easy. But as a local business person, I would love to hire an IT expert, an engineer, a plumber, an electrician, and a qualified one. And that's, I think, a challenge that we at ORDA have. And I think that I've gotten comfortable with the fact that this company, and I talked to people who talked with them, and they feel that this will be a guidance document that they can actually follow and implement. And because of that education that I've gotten from our employees, not from other engineers or other people, or I don't know, God forbid, former ORDA board members, this is my company. I believe they're technical advisors that will help us move the venues in a positive, healthy, maintainable direction.
I'm stealing your terminology. I've been a consultant and I've worked with consultants. I like technical advisors better too. Thank you for that.
Any others? I will conclude just by saying that I strongly support this. I supported it from the beginning. As I said, I think it's going to be a very comprehensive look under the hood of a very complex organization. And it's an effort to assist the staff we have. We could hire, we'd have to hire lots and lots of folks. You know, just within the engineering discipline, there's 3 major disciplines, and then there's lots of sub-disciplines within them. And I am convinced that our infrastructure covers all of them. We have electrical components, we have mechanical, we have civil, we have bridges, we have everything under the sun. So we're never going to hire all the staff we need to do it all the time. So we rely on technical advisors to help us do it as efficiently and as effectively as possible. And I think this is, to Diane's point, a relatively modest investment in the future of the organization. So I strongly support it. And I would ask, if there are no other questions, if we could have a vote on Resolution 578 as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Betty.
Betty Little.
Okay,
Thank you, Betty.
I am opposed, but I could abstain if you prefer that.
I want you to be comfortable with however you vote.
Okay, well then I just can't support it right now. It's such an expense and we're in such great shape and being so successful. I don't understand the need for this. So, thank you.
Noted and respected, Betty. Thank you. Any opposed? We have the opposed, sorry. Any abstentions? Motion carries with 1 vote in the negative. Resolution committing operating of this, I'm sorry, could I have a motion to adopt Resolution 579, Resolution committing operating funds and authorizing President and CEO to enter into an agreement extending the contract for business intelligence software platform? Could I have a motion, please? Like Ken,
Second, Art.
Oh,
Billy.
let Art get it. He's.
seconded by Billy. Ashley, would you like to give a rundown of?
For just a quick overview on this one. So this is a 3-year extension of a business analytics software. We utilize the software to integrate a lot of the data that we get. It comes from our ticketing, our budgeting, lessons, rental systems. Everything gets integrated in. We're able to analyze the data, see year over year or, multiple year trends and make decisions based on the data that we're seeing. And so this is a 3-year extension and renewing those services.
Is this software used at all the venues?
It is used by
Olympic Center?
all venues and I won't say all departments, but the majority of our departments, yeah.
Any other questions?
Analytics, though, it's not any of the actual
It's not any of the purchasing, no, it
analytics.
integrates with all of our purchasing systems. So it gathers the data. We can, we have staff that are able to queue up different reports to support the venues or the department's needs.
But it's not a point of sale.
It is not.
Okay.
But that's coming. We're going to be talking about, so my question on this has to do with integrating. I mean, every time I turn around, I hear about the next best new technology. We can use this software, we can use this software. And for me, if they don't talk to one another, if they don't work together, we are continually at the carnival shooting the water pistols into the ducks. So I think this is important and I support it, but I also, I'll use the example, I don't think we're there yet. When I realized that a family wants to learn to ski and they call Bel Air and they arrange lessons, but they can't arrange rentals and tickets in the same piece. And that's something that you are looking at with a more global view rather than jumping. Is that correct?
Yes, so
Talk about that a little bit.
that's a point of sale software. And so that contract is coming up that contract is ending soon. So we're putting together an RFP that should be out here within the year that will ask for proposals to support a number of services that we do across not just the ski centers, but, events, retail, all of them. So that'll be coming here, hopefully in the next 6 months, I would like to say.
And I do appreciate you not jumping, even though I'm sure there are a lot of people that have suggested packages. I think we do have to look at the big picture, so I appreciate that.
Any other questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. I have a motion to adopt Resolution 580, a resolution committing capital and granting approval for the president and CEO to enter into agreements for Bel Air Mountain snowmaking, trails, and electrical improvements. And I think Ashley is going to give us a rundown of not only this, but the next two resolutions as well, because they're very similar across the 3 venues. We'll vote on them independently, but she'll give you the explanation now for all 3.
Yeah, so for Resolution 580, 581, and 582, representing Bel Air, Whiteface, and Gore, they're all very similar in nature, so I'll just give a quick overview with them. So we talked a little bit earlier about our ability to open the mountains early. These resolutions that we're going to address for each of the mountains is us continually making our annual investments in our high-efficiency snowmaking. This allows us to make more snow in less time with less energy. And really, you can see just the trends that we've been having over the past couple of years, regardless of the weather, how that is really paying off. So they will include necessary continued improvements in snowmaking. Some of the trail work, every year we improve our terrain. Some of the things that we look at when we make decisions on improving the terrain are how we can open trails, for example, with creating less snow. So if we can improve some of the trails and the surfaces underneath, that helps us be more efficient early in the season and particularly at the end of the season. One thing to note here is that one that in particular for Whiteface Mountain has a little bit more significant of electrical work than the other two, and that will be to replace we have an above ground electrical line right now that services the summit, and we will replace that with a buried one and also bring power to the top of Lookout Mountain, which currently does not have any power. So those are two just nuances on the Whiteface side.
Thanks, Ashley. Any other questions? All in favor? So we're voting on resolution 580.
Need a motion and a second for 580.
Yes. Need a motion?
Make a motion.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Diane. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously.
Is that Aurelia Borealis at Bel Air, Whiteface, or Gore?
That was Gore.
Okay.
Okay, it's
Oh,
cool.
no, it wasn't.
No,
Bel Air.
it's Bel Air.
Bel Air. Okay.
Yeah,
Very cool. I'm
in
gonna,
the morning.
I'll make the resolution for Gore 581.
well, okay.
The motion.
I could probably read it first. The resolution, this is a
Okay.
resolution 581, committing capital and granting approval for the president and CEO to enter into agreements for Gore Mountain snowmaking trails and electrical improvements. And Betty, I believe you just made the motion. Could I have
I'll
a
make the
second?
motion. Yeah.
Second.
Seconded by Ellie. Any further questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. We're up to resolution 582, a resolution committing capital and granting approval for the president and CEO to enter into agreements for Whiteface Mountain snowmaking trails, electrical improvements. And I need a
581. Oh, it's 582.
Yep.
What happened to 581?
581 was the one I had this score.
Bel Air was something.
So we voted on 580 and 581.
Okay.
We're up to 582.
Thank you.
Yep. So I need a motion on 582.
So moved.
Moved.
Diane?
Diane,
Second.
seconded by Ellie. Any questions or further questions on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. May I have a motion to adopt resolution 583, resolution committing capital and granting approval for the president and CEO to enter into an agreement for carpet conveyor systems at Gore and Bel Air Mountains. Could I have a motion?
I'll make that motion. Mhm.
Okay, motion made by Betty, seconded, I'll second the motion. Ashley, why don't you give us a description, please?
So we really believe in investing in our beginner skiers and ensuring that access to skiing is easy and it should be enjoyable for everyone. Beginner carpets are really important to that. We use them on ski lessons and they are available for outside of ski lessons as well. In the photo here, you'll see on the lower right, that's the newest of our carpets, which is currently at the summit of Bel Air Learning Center, which has been an awesome new addition for us. Because it is at the summit, we're able to open it early, and you can really see the difference too between, to the left is the lower beginner carpet at Bel Air. This past season, we did have to decommission the second carpet that we had at Bel Air because of its age. So this season we operated with one less than we did last year. And it's really important just for our lessons and the introduction into sport to be able to do it. You'll also see the top right is, that's the current carpet at Gore. So the Bear Cub beginner lift came online in 2023. And this resolution helps us to replace those two carpets, one at Bell and one at Gore, with a reliable and highly functioning beginner carpet.
Much better than the old T-bar, what it was.
Oh, my gosh.
Better than the T-bar and
Little safer.
yeah. But so again, we really investing in our beginner skiers is very important. Regardless of the age, we want to continue to invest in our future.
I will note that my granddaughter, ripe age of 3, was on her first magic carpet this year and absolutely loved it.
I'm curious at Bel Air, if we didn't have a gondola servicing this, it's probably, or do we have a gondola
Oh, with the
servicing?
summit?
Yeah, that's the only way.
And I'm just, I guess that's where want to support this motion, because you can learn to ski at the top, which is the coolest thing because of the views, and you feel like you're king of the mountain often when you're learning to ski and you're on the bunny hill, you're like second-class citizen. This makes you feel pretty special. But I would say I'm only supporting it because of the fact that you can take a gondola down. If it was just you had to navigate after learning to ski,
Yeah.
you have to ski all the way to the bottom.
Ski patrol would be busy.
Yes.
And just to be clear, because I want to make sure that, so the left-hand side photo here is the current beginner lift that is at the base of Bel Air.
Below
And
the
that's
base,
the one, below the base, yes. You actually sit down and take it up. So that's the one at Bel Air that would be replaced, and then the carpet and the top right at Gore and the beginner area would be replaced. That's actually being extended. Both of them are being extended a bit, so that it's an easier transition once they get off.
Great.
They're at the flat.
Thanks.
Ashley, can you speak to how the new carpet at Bel Air will be? The upper mountain, I still have concerns about it in terms of some warming areas and stuff, but down below, how is this oriented? And is there work being done so that that lower area is not so steep?
Yeah, so we did work over the summer to level out and regrade that area. Before we were having to do that with snow. So when we talk about trail improvements in the previous resolutions, we improved the slope of that this year. This past construction season, so summer of '25. We would likely look to do some additional grading. It helps us to be able to open it with less snow because we're not having to use that snow to shape the slope. The carpet at Bel Air will be extended. Right now, when you get off of the carpet, you still have to walk uphill a little bit. So this new carpet will be longer, so you can, you ski down and then you take it back up to the top. So that will improve that whole area.
Thank you.
Any other further questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. And that, I believe, concludes the business for today's meeting.
We just approved over $18 million in investments in our facilities. I think spending $3 million to make a plan on how to keep them updated is probably a good investment.
Thank you, Ken. Great point.
Little fun slide here if you want, Joe. So just a thank you to our board. I think also it's a reminder that what we do at all of our venues, regardless of ski or legacy venues, has a big impact. We got a very, very nice letter to our Gore team from Kelsey O'Driscoll that I'll share with the board. But none of these accomplishments here can be done without.
For the great, discussion and interactions over the FEA proposal. I know that
I learned a lot.
good questions and good concerns, so I appreciate everybody engaging on that. So if there's no other items, I'd like a motion to adjourn.
I can't resist. The left-hand person is Jessie Diggins, and her last race of her career will be at Van Hovenberg on the 20 or 21 of March. And I know
It's gonna be great.
we have a large audience planning on TEDing, but I don't want anyone here to, if you can put it on your calendar, I think it's going to be a worthwhile event.
It's gonna be great.
Very, very honored and excited that US Skiing has worked with Ashley to create this grand finale for one of the greatest cross-country skiers ever in American history. And very proud that we're hosting it.
That's great.
Ditto. Okay, I'm not gonna call the motion until everybody agrees.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Meeting is adjourned. Motion carries.
Joy,
Thanks, everyone.
congratulations on your